Okay, so we're going to start a project here, and we're going to go from Photoshop into Motion. All right, so what I've got here is I've got a Photoshop file. I've added some stuff to. You can notice there is an image in the background. There's two layers that have cats on them. There's some text that's spread out among the layers. Notice everything is on different layers. Uh, so when you cut apart your image, make sure that you are distributing it amongst some layers. And then you want to save that. Make sure when you save it that you're saving as a Photoshop file with layers in it. Okay, so once I have all my elements, I can quit Photoshop. And I've saved it to the desktop right here. Okay, so now I want to open Motion. When you open Motion for the first time, you probably get this window here. And this is a good place to look at some things the program has to offer. But we're going to start with a new project. I'm going to click on Continue. Now, the first thing it asks you to do is set the project preset. And there's a lot here, but the ones you want to be concerned with are NTSC, which is Standard American Broadcast Television, or HD, which there seems to be a lot of choices in here, but a good one to go with is Broadcast HD at 720p. Note that your files will get quite a bit bigger if you work in HD. So for this demo, I'm going to just work in NTSC Broadcast SD. And it lets you, shows you how many frames the project is. So the default's 300 frames. I'm going to hit OK. And Motion's going to open up to this window that you'll recognize from the first screencast. Okay, so I have my file browser open over here. My project window there. I am going to grab this Photoshop file we can see in the file browser. Another way I could do it is just to grab it off the desktop here and drag it in, but right here it's just fine. So I'm going to move it over here, put it in the center, and if I hold the button down and don't move the mouse around, it's going to come up with this layer, this menu here that I can select from. What I want to do is I want to import all layers. I don't want merge layers. It's going to create one object. I want to import all layers. You can see everything pops up here. Now, if I go to my project window, you'll see that all the layers that were visible in my that were in my Photoshop document are now in my Motion document. So Motion will grab all those layers and import them. Now, one thing you should note, some things like smart objects and adjustment layers will not come over properly. So make sure everything is sort of there where it needs to be in a standard layer. Note too that this layer that wasn't visible in my Photoshop document is already set to not visible in my Motion document. And if I want to get rid of that, I'm just going to highlight that by clicking on it and hit delete. And it is out. And notice they're all in a group here, and they're in a group there with the name of the Photoshop document. So I can adjust them there as I see fit. Okay, so we are going to make the introduction that you saw at the beginning of this screencast. So let's get started. I think first thing we need to do is adjust our view or zoom level. If you look right here under our toolbar, you'll see that there is some selections that allow you to kind of control how you work with your project. And a good one to start with there is the view. That's an easy way to zoom in and out. I want to get this cat out of the way, so I'm going to select that cat. Notice I have my pointer select tool selected. Now I can just grab this guy and move him out of the way. Notice he doesn't show up, but the frame, so anytime I have him selected, the frame will be visible out here. So I'm just going to leave him out here for now. The background is good where it is. Okay, so let's look at our, now I can select our piece now. So if I hit this button here, it plays from start. Notice nothing happens. All our objects are kind of where they are, and they're not moving over time. So let's make these things move over time. I want this text to sort of pop in over the span of a few seconds. So let's look down in our timeline, and you can see I've got inadvisable, drain, and productions there. So I'm going to let's leave inadvisable where it is. Let's take drain. Let's make drain sort of come in after a few seconds. Okay. So if you look down here, you see I can grab this, click and hold, and I can drag this thing around. If I drag it to the right, it kind of moves over there. And if I drag it to the left, it moves over here. And so it stays the same length, and I can move it around as I see fit. I can also hover my mouse over either end, and I get a little selection, and I can change the length. So if I drag it in this side, it's going to change the length of that. Change the length of that clip. And I can drag it out as I need. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that. The length it is there at the end. Then I'm going to drag this front end a little bit. Let's drag that. Now I'm going to select the third piece of text. And I'm going to drag this one in a little bit more than the first one. Okay. So I'll come up here, deselect by clicking outside the frame, and let's play from start now. And bang. So all three text sort of comes in, one after the other. Alright, so what if we don't want these things to just kind of pop in? We want them to fade in. Well, we need to start animating something, some property, over time. And that's where keyframes come in. Keyframes are what we use to tell X property to be at Y value at Z time. Okay, what that means is at 0 frames, I want something to be at a certain value at frame 28. Let's see the frames here. I want something to be different. So I'm going to select inadvisable. I'm going to pull my playhead back to the beginning. And motion has some interesting means of animating keyframes. So basically this little record button records keyframes and values rather than sort of recording video like it would on any other program. So what I can do is I can find that property I want to animate. And in this case, I want to animate the opacity. So you can kind of see there, as I animate as I move this opacity slider from 0 to 100, the video shows up and disappears, where the object does. So I'm going to move this down to 0, and I want this to animate over about 17 frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, notice I'm on 0 now, so that's where I want it to start. I'm going to click the record button. Note how all the properties over here turn pink. That means they can be keyframed at this point. So what I'm going to do is click on the playhead, move it right to where I want my second keyframe to be. And I'm going to come back up here and move this opacity slider up to 100. Now if I come back, uncheck the record button, then I'm done recording those keyframes. So that record button, all it's doing is recording the value change, not the movement over time. That's just specified by where the keyframe is placed. And if you look here, as I move this, the text is going to appear there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record all three. So I have drain selected. I'm going to come over. Note I have to put my playhead at the beginning so I can see it. I'm going to drag the opacity slider down, click record, move my playhead where I want the second value to be, drag up the opacity, and stop recording. Now I can do the same thing on the productions. I'm going to move my playhead at the beginning, and it should snap to the beginning of that. I'm going to drop the opacity, click record, move the playhead over a little bit, raise the opacity, and stop recording. Okay, so now let's see what we have here. Let's fit this to the window so you can see a little better. Let's play from the beginning. Our text should fade in one after another. And we can see that happening down here. We can see where the text pops in and it fades there. Now, if we really want to get in and look at our keyframes, we can come over here and open our keyframe editor. If I click here and tell it to show opacity, I have to select them first. So I have to click. Let's go back to the keyframe. So we have opacity labeled there. You can see this is a graphical representation of that keyframe. Each of these dots here is an actual keyframe, and this is the value in between. So we'll get into those a little bit later if we need to. Alright, let's move this back out of the way. So our text is kind of boring at this point. And also it doesn't show up very well. So we need to do something to that to kind of liven it up. And I think in this case maybe a filter would help. Now there are a couple of places to look at your filters. One place is the library. Over here in your inspector. So click on the library and you can see this is kind of everything that Motion has to offer. But there's kind of an easier place to get to this, and that is over here in your toolbar. There's a button that says Add Filter, and this is going to give you all the filters that you can add to the object you have selected. And there's pretty familiar if you've gone through the filters in Photoshop. From our example, I used the Bad TV filter. So I have Inadvisable selected. I'm going to come over here and select Bad TV. And you're going to notice that changed my text. Now, some of these filters are just like Photoshop filters, and they'll apply a static effect, but this one happens to be a video filter. If we play through the video, now you can see it's kind of wiggling and looks like an old TV set. Also, over here in your project menu, you can see Inadvisable now has a drop down arrow next to it, and there's the Bad TV filter shown up there. If I click on that, come over here to the inspector, Bad TV shows up under the Filters tab. So we have all these kind of properties. So let's move that over so we can see it. Alright, so we have waviness, it's kind of staticky. We have a roll, it moves it up and down, and a few other ones. But I like the waviness being put really wavy there. Let's hit the roll down. And I think what I'd like for that to do is to kind of start wavy and then move down to not wavy as the text fades in. So I have my filter and my text fades in there. So I'm going to crank that waviness up and let's animate that so that it waviness fades out up to there. So let's move that back. Go ahead and hit the record button. I'm going to move the playhead to where I want the waviness to stop. Come up, drop that waviness down to 0, and stop recording. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, that looks good. So, I've got that ready to go. So I think what I can do now is I can select that here. I can Command-C copy it. Let's just select Drain and paste it. And select Productions and paste it there. What that will do is that'll paste those onto their respective objects. And that's going to keep that keyframing intact. So now, play it from the beginning. There we go. We have our text fade in, and we have the waviness fade out as it fades in. Alright, so we have the first part of our tutorial ready. When I come back, we'll start the next step.